A man went missing from Oregon after a traffic accident, and no one has seen him since. We'll be going over that case in just a second. Hi everybody, it's Jerrie Dean from Missing Persons of America. Matthew Lang is missing. He's 33 years old and he was last seen in Bend, Oregon by his roommate. Now, Matthew's truck was found abandoned and crashed in this area on, it was between the Lost Creek Lake and the town of Prospect. On October 27th, the troopers responded to a phone call they received. And I believe it was a neighbor that called them, and I suppose they heard a noise and they wanted the police to check it out. And when they went there, they found Matthew's truck, and it had been in a rollover accident. So you'll see pictures of his truck, and you'll see a couple pictures of one of it sitting upside down, and you'll also see another one of it sitting upright. And I found that the detectives were the ones that rolled it over. And they took pictures of it. What they found was that the driver's side window had been kicked out, and they found a small amount of blood inside the vehicle. They found Matthew's cell phone, and then outside the vehicle, they found Matthew's wallet, but it didn't have any cash in it, and it didn't have his ID in it. They searched around for Matthew, and they weren't able to find him anywhere. They brought back a search team, and they also had dogs that could smell a scent, and the dogs went through that whole area, and they were not able to locate him. They said that the dogs did not pick up any scent whatsoever. So now this brings to question, if the dogs didn't pick up any scent, is it possible that Matthew was never there? Maybe it wasn't Matthew that was driving that truck. Maybe somebody else got into an accident and it wasn't Matthew. Then if so, where is Matthew? What has happened to him? And who would have been driving that truck? A lot of questions are coming up, but there are no answers. So because of the blood found in the truck, the family were hoping that the police would do a DNA check to find out for sure if that was Matthew in there, but they decided not to do that. They also have decided not to run any tolls for Matthew's phone, which I think is a strange thing to do because there's a lot of information that could be found from that phone. They did the toll records. They could find out who he was talking to and when he was talking to them, if he was talking to them during the accident or if he had talked to them hours before that. I mean, there's a lot of things. They could find out who he talked to and then go talk to those people that he talked to on the phone, find out if they know anything. So there's a lot of information that can be found out from that phone, and why the detectives have decided not to do this, I really don't understand. Now, I can understand the DNA for the blood not being done because it does take a while to get that information back. And maybe they'll do that at a later date, but it would take so long, they wouldn't want to sit around and wait for that information. Now, there is a Facebook page that's called Help Us Find Matthew Lang that has been posting up pictures. They actually sent me the information that Matthew was missing. And I also had a couple of questions regarding it. I wanted to make sure I had the right information. I heard that the windshield had been kicked out, but then when I talked to them, it turned out it was actually the driver's side window that had been kicked out. And then I wanted to make sure that I was right about the blood, and I was right about what I read about the driver's license missing, the ID missing, things like that. So they have followed up with me and confirmed this information that I'm telling you now, and we've got everything cleared up, what was going on with this case. On Wednesday, the Help Find Matthew Lang page on Facebook said that new detectives had been assigned to this case. Now, it seems that things really weren't being done a lot as far as investigating, or they weren't answering questions of previous detectives. So now the family is very helpful. These new detectives find information and get back to the family about what's going on. This turn of events could be that they have gotten a tip. It could be that they do realize that there might be foul play considering this case. So now they're going to pursue it more. Before, pretty much maybe all they had was the fact there was an accident and he was missing. But maybe they have more information now that they're not telling the public or even the family, that leads them to believe that they need to investigate this more thoroughly. Now, I saw that they also posted, let me read you what they had to say on this, okay? Thankfully, there are new detectives on the case. They're going to be following up with some leads that they have gotten. They will unfortunately not be hacking the phone or running the DNA at this time. The family is planning on doing this themselves. Thank you so much for all the thoughts and prayers. We are praying that these new detectives will find information that will lead us to Matt. We'll update again as soon as we hear everything. So you can see that they're much more optimistic now that new detectives have been brought into this case. And I'm optimistic too that maybe they'll get farther along. Maybe, I don't know why they've brought in new detectives. I don't know if well, it says that they had some new leads, but why they would bring new detectives on when they've got new leads, I don't know. But maybe these detectives have more time to spend on this case and to thoroughly investigate it. So Diane Lang, she is the mother of Matthew, and she posted on her Facebook page. I want to read a little bit to you. Today's day 6 that my son Matthew Lang has been missing. He's not hiding. He would never put me through all this. Please continue to pray. He has to be alive. His story can't end like this. His brother Christian, his stepdad, uncle, friends from Southern California, as well as a couple of co-worker friends are there and joining in with the search and rescue. Oh, that's wonderful. So I did a while back, I did a story on YouTube about 5 women that were missing after they got into a car accident. I never did one on men, although there's quite a few men that gone missing after an accident also. I put a list of them underneath the Missing Persons of America website, and you could look at those links and read about those stories. But it was also interesting that Diane posted back in 2018 a story about Matthew Jonathan Weaver. She put up his flyer. There's a $50,000 reward for information leading to where he is. And evidently Matthew was driving his car and he went missing. And his car was found on Topanga Tower Motorway in California. He was seen on that road and he was heading towards Rose's Overlook. And Matthew's vehicle was located the following day, and that was back in August 10th, 2018. And the vehicle was located on a dirt road near the Topanga Tower Motorway, abandoned, and it was hanging off the edge. And that's about all it says. I don't know how high the edge is. And he's still missing. This is back in 2018, and this Matthew Jonathan Weaver is still missing. So I thought I didn't even know about this case. I want to bring that up to you, that he is also missing, and Diane posted that on her Facebook page. And also I saw some mentions that there were other men that went missing from the same area that Matthew went missing. And I went back and I looked those up. And one was a Jonathan Moore. He's 35 years old. And he crashed his 2001 Dodge pickup truck on Roe River Road. And they said that at least one gunshot fire had been fired at the vehicle. So I kind of was wondering if maybe the same thing happened to Matthew. Did somebody shoot at his car and that caused him to have an accident? Just like something happened to Jonathan Moore's truck. Somebody shot at that. Now, when the deputies went there, they found the truck empty. Jonathan was missing. His phone was found nearby, and they haven't found him since. And what is eerie about this case, too, is that they state that the search dogs have not found a scent of him. And that was the same thing that happened in Matthew's case. They took the search dogs out, and there was no scent of him. And here we are with Jonathan Moore's case, and there's no scent of him either. Which I think is really, really weird. And the next case was Carl Peterson. He's 29 of Grissom. Now, he was located, but he went disappearing after he crashed his Jeep. And he ran into the woods afterwards because a deputy saw him and yelled at him to stop, and he kept running. And sadly, it was several months later, like 5 months later, they found him. He had gone running, I guess, into the woods and went right, I guess he didn't know it was there, went right off a cliff and fell down and ended up in the river. And that happened in February, and they didn't find his body until July. So I put a map up so you can see where all three of these cases, the one that was on Stark Street, the one was Roe River, and the Matthew at Lost Creek Lake. And there is it shows here it would take 5 hours to go from Stark Street all the way down to Lost Creek Lake. So each of these incidences are a couple of hours away from each other. Now, Matthew Lang is 6 foot tall and with brown hair. And if you see him or you have any information, or if you might have seen his vehicle around that on that day before he went missing, or even the day that he went missing, please call the Oregon State Police Southern Command Center. And their phone number is 1-800-442-2068. All right. And the family also just set up a GoFundMe campaign. So I have a link at my website of the story, and you can follow that link over to their campaign to donate. They're needing some money so they can check on that blood and see if it is Matthew. And I think they mentioned also they were going to try to check up on the cell phones, the tolls on the cell phones, so you can also donate to help them with the cost of that. And I also have the link of these other cases, Brandon Lawson and Shane Fell. They both went missing after they crashed their cars. All right, and I think that about covers it. Let me see, I've got everything on the pictures, and we'll put those all up. If you want to see any updates, go to the website. I always put the updates there. If you are not a member of my Missing Persons of America Facebook page, please stop on over there and become a member. I always do updates on there too. And on YouTube, please subscribe if you haven't already. The numbers are still growing. Thank you for that. And that's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening, and see you soon.